container has landed. Wow. Okay, I'm going to try this again. I refuse to believe the wonders of shopping online. This thing vanished right before my eyes. We need to add this to cart like straight away. What's up, K-Divas, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Priscilla and this is Kim Dave. In this video, I am going to be scouring the internet for viral sewing tools that could elevate my sewing game in 2024. Now, I'm someone who has been sewing for a few years, but I still think there is room for growth and room for improvement. And I'm a huge fan of anything that helps me save time, anything that helps me achieve better finish in my overall project. So I'm going to be going on the famous TikTok app. I'm seeing what I can find. We'll scour and find the items together. I'm going to order them, and when they arrive, I'll actually try it with you guys and tell you if they work, if they're worth the hype, if I'm keeping them, or if they're actually going straight back and I'm saving my money. So if you'd like to find out what these tools are, make sure to keep on watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and let's go shopping, shall we? Let's go and find these so-called viral sewing tools that would make my life a lot easier in the new year. In the new year, the new year. I don't know why I just broke into singing. Time to actually start the search. I'm going to go on my TikTok and search viral sewing tools. Let's start from there because there's so many options. Okay, so there's this creator here.
But a lot of you recommended friction pens. Essentially, they work in a similar way to water-soluble markers. You apply heat and the marking will go away. So it technically requires less work of you. You just apply the heat and you're good to go. I found some on Amazon for not too bad of a price.
Friction pens. Tailor's chalk. That's something that we have all used at some point, but friction pens. Is this young lady telling me that they're actually tools that you can use to mark your fabric that would dissolve with heat? What? Add to cart. Let me go and look for it on Amazon straight away because hello. So they're called friction pens, and I would just say for sewing because I want to think there are different type of friction pens, and they're actually not too bad. So there's a pack of like 5 for £9. This thing better be worth it because if I'm paying £9 for pens, it better evaporate as I put that heat on the fabric, because there are some designs, like there's a jumper from a ready-to-wear brand where I actually use chalk to draw and then stitch, and I really struggle to get the chalk mark off the fabric. So if this works, bruh, I am going back and buying the whole carton because that would be a game changer for sure. Okay, we need to add this to cart like straight away. Okay, that's the first tool found. Let's continue the search, see what else we can find. Wait. What?
Seam guide. It holds your fabric in place at wherever you need your seam allowance to be. Never sew without it.
A seam guide. I know this is something that my sister actually uses, and my sister makes bags. Should I not? Something my teacher is always saying in uni: you are not a magician. Getting a perfect stitch is something that requires experience and practice. But somebody has invented a tool to make our lives easier. Please, let me go and look for it straight away. Because especially when you're sewing, you know, seams that are curved, like circle hems on like skirts, peplums, tops, and you want to have an even seam. Please, let me go and look for it now. Seam guide for sewing. This is a great tool if you're a beginner as well. So I've been sewing for over 5 years, and I think this would be very, very, very helpful. And I think it's something that if you are searching for yours, I see there is a one for domestic machine and industrial machine. So just knowing what kind of machine you have. Oh, I've seen one. So let me say seam guide for industrial sewing machine, because my plan is to use this on my Juki, this machine, and it's on an industrial machine. So I want to be sure that I'm getting something that I can use, because if it's magnetic, it's something that if you just plonk on the machine and you adjust it to the amount of seam allowance you want, it should hold it in place. There are so many different types here, but the general price is between £7 to £7. That's how much I'm seeing. £9. I like this one. This looks good. Magnetic seam guide for rolled hem. You can use this. It's a universal sewing machine attachment for industrial household So this one is £9. Add to cart. Okay, not bad. So far, so good. Let me actually save these videos because I know I will need them later. Found some very useful tools. Okay, TikTok, I see you. So I've scored 2 items. Let's see what else we can find.
Here are my favorite sewing tools, part 2. These 2 ironing tools. This is a tailor's ham, and it helps you iron around edges like your sleeve opening. This is a sleeve ironing board.
Oh, yes. Do you know what's funny? I have been making clothes. I have been sewing sleeves. But do you know what I do whenever I have to iron around like sleeves or around like a bust cup? I would literally make a mountain of fabric so I can iron around curved edges. But there is a tool that exists for that. Please, why have I not gotten this tool? Can somebody... I like to just make my life hard. I like to make my life hard for myself because I know this is something that I had spotted when I was in fashion school. But you know when you just forget to get something or you think you will not use it often? But I kid you not, especially when I'm doing like corset styles, you know, the 3-piece bust cup where you like stitch the panels together to make the bust cup, or even like ironing around like the bust point on a corset. I would literally make a mounting of fabric from my scraps. Oh, Priscilla, let's not do this in the new year. Let's not make our life hard in 2024. Let me go and look for this on Amazon. And I don't think it'd be very expensive. What would you even call this? She called this the tailor's ham. Oh, it's actually a thing. It's called a tailor ham and sleeve set. And basically you would get the rounded thing. You can get the short one that you can use for the sleeve. And there is a longer one. Let me just show you guys a picture of what the longer one looks like. There is a longer one like that when you want to do like long sleeves. Oh, yes. Okay. So the set that is just like the normal round one is like £17. That's not too bad. Between 17 to 20 is like the general consensus, but I'm definitely getting this. I'm sorry. Add to cart. I don't know why I like to make my life a lot harder than it already is. When there are tools to simplify these processes, like why? Why? I'm going to try and find one more tool to add to my cart just to make it 4, and then when the items arrive, unbox them and I'll actually test them and show you how they work, if they're worth the hype, and if I'm actually going to keep them or if I'm going to send them back. So let's see what else we can find on the app. There's so many tools. It's actually crazy. Like depending on what level you are in sewing, if you're a beginner, intermediate, or if you're more experienced, and depending on what you struggle with, if you're someone who doesn't like to cut, the electric scissors that would make the cutting a lot quicker. If you're someone who you're looking for an alternative to chalk, you can try out the friction pen. So let's see what else I can find. I am just as curious. I think I'm a fan of anything that helps me save time. If you help me save time, yes to that. Okay, let's see. Oh, what's this?
The tools for sewing, must try it.
Oh, it's like a bias tape maker sewing machine. I honestly don't even know how to describe this, but it's some kind of footer that has these bendy lines that you pass your bias through, and you can either sew a ribbon or you can use it to finish the neckline of your garments. Oh, that's clever. Especially when you're like finishing the armhole of a dress and you don't want to go and have to sew the bias twice, like, you know, sewing it once and then folding it over. This tool would help you stitch it evenly in one go. Yes, please. Add to cart. So I found one here for $15.83, which is like £16. It looks like what I saw on the ad. It looks like it. I hope it is the one. So I'm going to add this to my cart and order everything. And when they arrive, we'll unbox them together and see if they actually work, because what you see on the internet is very different sometimes to what actually arrives in the mail. Container has landed. Everything came from Amazon and it came all in one pack. I just went on my account to check if everything actually arrived, and it looks like something is missing. So let's just unbox these and see if everything I ordered is here, if they are what like they look like on the website, and I'm going to test it with you guys so you see if they actually work and is worth my coin. Let's pop this box open. Ooh. I'm fighting with the box for my life. So the first thing here is the tailor's ham and sleeve roll. This is what it looks like. Just show you guys up close. It kind of feels like fabric that was stuffed with like foam. It feels like a big pink cushion. That's what this feels like. I already know that this is something that's going to help me when I'm pressing like curved seams around like the bust, the sleeve, the hip. It's going to help my life a lot easier. So let me just get this open real quick. So it's a pack of 2. It also comes with a little piece of like paper that gives you like directions on how the different dimensions and how you can use it. There are 2 sizes here. There is this square one, more square rectangular one, and there is this more cylindrical one, which I think would be more for like long sleeves. And it's something that you can even DIY if you want. If you have foam or the thing they use in padding of jackets, why is the name skipping me now? Wadding, I think that's what it's called. If you have some wadding, you could easily DIY this yourself. So it's a good project to like upcycle like small pieces of scraps. So that's the first thing that arrived. The second thing on here is, this looks like the bias tape maker. So it says overlock binding of curve, but it's the one that when you loop the bias through, you can use it to finish like necklines and seams. And I'm actually going to be trying this out because I do a lot of puff sleeve projects, and if you try to overlock puff sleeve seams, whew, you just have to break your overlocker thread and the blade at the same time. So I know using bias to finish those seams is something I typically would gravitate towards, especially if it's a client's order. So this, I hope it works. I beg, please, it has to work, because it will just be so nice if it actually works. So this is what it looks like. I'm curious how the setup of this in my machine would work. I need to go and watch the video again. I think this is where you loop the bias through into here. This is what sits flat on your machine, this piece here. And this is where the bias comes through. So I'll test this and I'll show you guys like what it looks like actually working. The last thing here is the friction pen, erasable fabric pens, and it's a pack of 3. This just looks like normal pen to me. It says it writes like a pen and disappears like a pencil. Suitable for use on all fabrics and can withstand heat. Sorry, the Nigerian in me is just like, are you sure? This is the first one I'm going to test. So it's a pack of 3. There's a red one, black one, and a blue one. So I'm going to test to see if it really disappears, and if after the temperature cools down on the fabric, if it actually disappears. Because it's one thing for it to disappear under heat, and then maybe when the temperature is back to normal, you see the pen lines again. So that is a bit I'm very, very curious about. But those are all the items that came. The same guy did not arrive. It looks like the parcel got lost. I'm going to reach out to the seller because I don't even know what happened. That's the one thing that I really know I needed, especially like for sewing curved hemlines. I really needed that same guy. That's something that even my sister uses and she really raves about. So I'm going to try and get it again or reach out to the seller. But more, that parcel don't lost. So the wonders of shopping online. What can I say? I'm going to go ahead to try these out. I think I'll start out with the friction pens. I'll try out this one, and then I'll try ironing some like curved seam with this and see if it makes my life a lot easier. I'm starting off with testing the friction pens to see if they actually work. I have some green material here, so the lines are very visible. I think I might try out with the red or the blue, and then maybe I'll try out some white fabric. I just couldn't find any. Okay, let's try the red one. Will this even be visible, Seth? Let's just try it and see. Okay, it's visible. just to draw a square. Moment of truth. So I've just put my iron on the cotton setting without any steam, and I'm going to iron this off and see if it actually is a lie. I'm going to be like jazz. It literally vanished the moment the heat touched it. Wait, I need to try this again. I'm sorry. Wait, let me flip it to the other side. Oh my god, where did he vanish before my very eyes? Wow. Okay, I'm going to try this again. It's a lie. I refuse to believe. Wait. Let me do thicker lines now and actually see. Okay, I'm going to try this again. And I'm going to do even thicker lines. I most likely would not draw lines this thick when I'm marking, because maybe it's like drawing in a dot line or a style line or like a line that you want to do embroidery on, because I do have those moments, like, and then when you're done sewing the product you can see the chalk. So if this really works, it to be a game changer, honestly. Okay, let's try this again. Wow, it literally went from red to white as I passed the iron over it. That is actually really cool. I'm curious what technology they actually used to achieve this. So it vanished, the red line is gone. You can still see the white from like the friction of the pen against the fabric. This is the wrong side of velvet, so maybe that's why it looks like that. I'm going to let it cool down for like a couple of minutes and then check in again to see if the red line actually reappears, because if it does, that's a problem. If it doesn't, then I know it is really something that works. I feel like I want to try to do a different type of fabric. Actually, hold on. So it writes like a normal pen, like normal Bic or Biro or like any typical pen that you would find on the market. So just drawn in a square so it's very visible and clear. I'm going to press over this to see if it vanishes like it did with the first one. Did you see that? Wow! I'm sorry, that's actually just, I don't know why I just find it so cool. I'm sorry. That's just actually really, really cool. The thing vanished right before my eyes. So you can see the traces of where I drew the square, but like the sharpness of the blue is gone. You can see the corners of the square. But I don't know why I'm just so amazed. Wow, that's so cool. Okay, I will let this cool down.
Much later.
So this has cooled down, and as you can see, the color of the pen has disappeared, but you can still see a little bit of the marking of the square. So it's not bad for what it is. I would say if you're using it, don't press the pen in too much, because I went in and pressed it properly. Maybe that's why some of the corners are still visible, but compared to chalk, this is actually not bad at all. Like, I can't see the blue. I can't even see the blue rara at all on this thing. So this has been the best purchase so far. On the velvet, I pressed it down really hard so you can see the impact of the pen against the material. I think it's because it's velvet fabric, that's why you can see this white outline from part where I drew with the red friction pen, but the color is gone. The line or the outline is just still there on the velvet, but it is almost completely disappeared on the beige one. This is actually so cool. This is definitely getting 8 or 9 over 10 for me. I'm sorry. This has been like the best tool purchased so far. So I have the second tool here, which is this bias maker and stitching foot at the same time. I've just cut a piece of fabric that has a curved edge on one side. You also need to cut a long strip of fabric. This one is not cut accurately, but just to like demo and show you guys how this works. And the placement of this thing actually got me a bit confused, but I think I figured it out. So you'd want to put the footer here. So you lift the footer of your machine and then you push this one here. So it sits just at the mouth of that one. So it feeds from here into that one. You don't want to have it underneath, else it would break your needle. So once that is placed like this, I'm going to take the ribbon. This is the ribbon here. This I'm going to loop through this side. Then I'm going to feed it through. This is the bias maker, or the actual part of the footer that folds the fabric in. So make sure it comes out here. I think this is the part that is a bit finicky. Let's remove this out. Yeah, that's better. So I'm just pulling the slim strip of fabric through because it has to come out of this edge. So I'm just going to pull through. So once it arrives at the other end, I say what would help is to do a little bit of a stitch to lock the folds in the front. So just do like 2 or 3 stitches there. Okay. So once that is in place, I'm going to feed this fabric through the middle and see if it actually works. If this works, this will be actually very, very cool. I swear to God. Hey, maybe it's work. Oh. So here's a closer view. I just pushed the footer back a little bit so there is some space, so that allows the bias to fold and allows me to feed the material in between, because my aim is to end up with an outcome where I have a bias that has been stitched around this curved edge. This might be a neckline, hemline, seam, whatever. So let's try this out now. See if it actually works. Oh, it's moving, it's moving. Oh my God, it's actually moving. Ah! Oh my gosh, is this working? Could it be? I think the only thing I'm trying to figure out is how to keep this locked without it moving around. I think I haven't quite figured that out yet, but so far it seems to be stitching the bias into the edge of the fabric. It's just, how do you keep this locked without it moving around like crazy? I'm meant to screw this down to the machine. Yeah, this is meant to be magnetic. Where are the magnets inside? We're supposed... Fact, I'm just speaking pidgin English today. You know, I'm already getting frustrated. Because this is meant to be magnetic, no? Except I've missed a product description in there. Because it's sewing, the only thing is I now have to move the bias maker manually like this. Because it's doing the job it's meant to be doing, which is like folding the bias. And then... Is this working? Am I doing this right? Like, look, it's actually stitching. It's stitching there. I think I just need to figure out how to keep the footer locked on the machine. I thought this was meant to be magnetic, but it's not. So, except I'm not doing something right. But so far, so good. I think I need to get a hang of it, Sha. Yeah, I think I need to practice a bit more. You can see I missed some parts there. Let me take this out. I am confused. It did what it said on the tin. It folded in the fabric. It stitched it at the same time. I think I just need to figure out the placement of the footer. And maybe this particular model is not magnetic, because if it was magnetic, it should have stayed put, because this is metal and it should have stayed put. But instead I could move it around, so that made like the whole process a bit frustrating. And then the back, you can see I missed some spot. That's probably my error, but from here to here you can see I kind of got it over the fabric. Doing it over corners was like curved corners was a bit tricky because you can see I missed that spot there, but I think I just need to practice more with this. I'll give it like a 5/10 because it's not magnetic, sorry. But it does what it says on the tin. But the thing is not got me to the machine, and it said it was meant to, but oh well. The final tool to test is the tailor's ham. There are 2 sizes here. I'm going to just test this one for now. I have stitched together like a somewhat curved seam, and this I'm going to be attempting to press out using this to see if it's going to make the process a lot easier for me. Oh, that's so cool. Oh my god, why have I not bought this thing? Why did I not buy this thing ages ago? Eh? Let me try the smaller one inside here. It's a bit narrower. Trying to imagine if this was like maybe a sleeve or like leggings or something like really narrow, and I'm attempting to press this seam open. Having this definitely helps. Yeah. And it really helps to retain the shape of the seam, because the challenge with pressing seams that are curved or have a little bit of a shape is if you press them flat, it's kind of warps the shape of that seam. If you put it on, it will go back to what it was meant to be, but because you've applied heat and you've flattened it out, it doesn't have the same fullness that it would have had if you had pressed it using something like this. So this really has a round shape here because I pressed it using the tailor's hand. This has been such a fun video to make. It took a couple of weeks to put together because of how much research I had to do and how long I had to wait to receive some of these items, and the fact that one of them did not even arrive. I would say 2 out of the 3 things I'm really happy with. The bias footer thing, I'm not sure where I went wrong. I feel like I probably didn't read the product description right, because the one I saw on TikTok was magnetic, but the one I ended up buying clearly wasn't magnetic. I feel like it's something I can still use if I get a hang of how to maneuver the footer. So it's a case of the windy piece is making the bias, is folding it in for me, and I can go in and stitch in one go. I just think I would most likely use a wider strip of fabric so the bias at the end is a lot wider to really cover my raw edge or my seam completely, and I don't have the back escaping while the front is stitched down. But this was fun to do. Let me know if you'd like me to make another video like this. There's so many tools that I saw that I ended up not trying because I wanted to start off with these ones to see if I like them at all. I would definitely be keeping the tailor's ham and the friction pen, but my eyes are a bit that the footer. I'm going to try and get the seam guide as well. If I'm able to grab that, I'll most likely do like a YouTube short and show you guys how I get along with that one. Which of these tools would you actually buy, or which of these tools do you already have and you know it was a very good investment? Leave a comment down below. Also recommend any other clever tools that you know will save me time. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up.